Somebody who looks for injustice in the world and helps those in need.
Someone who protects unconditionally, I would say that.
Is somebody who has a strong moral compass that centres around helping other people.
Someone who brings joy to people and doesn't expect anything in return.
Somebody I look up to, like members of family, or somebody who's done something good in their lives, or for ourselves or family members.
Someone who faces fear, looks it straight in the eye, swallows the fear down and gets on with the job.
Someone that will go out of their way to help people, and they put other people first. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
I think someone that you can look up to and someone that stands out. I think that's what it is. I think if people look up to them and they have a story. Yeah.
Someone who has a very difficult battle to fight and comes up with ways and strategies and means that suit them best and the people around them. They're very selfless and caring, and they will always put others before themselves, and whether it be a mental battle, a physical battle, a health and wellness battle, or a superhero battle, all of the above still stands.
Someone who is willing to go out of themselves, go above and beyond what they think they're expected to do. Someone who can, either if they don't succeed, try to succeed as much as they can, to me.
Someone who sticks to their ideals, who has some kind of value or belief that they will stick to and have the drive to do whatever they can to fulfill it, whilst never breaking that code and belief. Whether that be to never let someone be harmed, or to not kill even if that person may deserve it. That is what I believe, to have that inherent drive and will to just do what needs to be done, even if others don't think it's the right thing to do. It's what they believe is the right thing to do.
It's my mom, because she's the strongest person I've ever met in life, because when she was going through something that's really hard for her, like when she was having to undergo surgery, she kept it from me just to protect me. Like when you're going through something so horrible and you still think about someone else.
Somebody who is inspirational, somebody who controls situations.
Kind
someone who basically sets an example. Yeah.
Is someone who is able to make some tough decisions, and usually that comes with a sacrifice of some kind, potentially a self-sacrifice. Consider a firefighter that goes into a burning building, that kind of thing.
Hello, my name is Adrian Teef and I'm the course director for Cartoon and Comic Arts. I was working with animation, so I was inspired to do comic arts because a lot of students were coming through with these skills, and there was a place in the marketplace for them to sort of go into and show off their illustration abilities as well as their animation strengths. So a lot of animators are also comic artists. Like the Comic Code Authority that was set up after Dr. Frederick Werton decided that comics that were bad for children to be reading, even though it was encouraging more and more children to actually to take up reading. But the subjects that were covered, especially in Western society, were quite wide and varied. So there was horror comics which EC used to do, and also true crime comics. So the Comic Code Authority was set up so that people were sort of protected. So it just ensured that there was a code where there was no killing, there was no sort of unwanted violence, and there was no swearing. So it became very sort of protecting towards Western communities, and the UK sort of adopted it as well. But that's the big difference, like, is that if you look at manga, manga's got a wider spread, like, so more than just sort of children read comics. Like, the differences between, well, Eastern comics and sort of Western comics, like, so the manga, I mean, manga just stands for comics. There's not really sort of that much difference, even though, like I said, it's more of a cultural shift and change, where like there's usually more of a sort of lone samurai sort of shogun sort of feel to all the sort of hero stories from Japan. But you know, that's like, they do sort of cross over quite a lot. What manga does quite well is that it's got a broader reach, because it's not just aimed purely at children. You know, you will see businessmen reading a thick tome of manga on the way, like on their way to work. So it's got a broader spread. It's not necessarily just sort of superheroes. Like, the superheroes do sort of follow the same format, because most superheroes are based on gods, and how gods interact like with human beings. From an anti-hero point of view, like, there are some good characters out there, you know, such as the Punisher. Like, they're a lot more sort of diverse, and they came about when the Comic Code was a bit more being relaxed, so that it allowed people to explore a darker side of comics. As mentioned before, like, you know, you couldn't actually go around and kill and torture people in comics like when the Comic Code was set up, but since it's been sort of relaxed, like, that's become a bit more sort of evident, and there's been some great stories with the Punisher included. If you go back and look how characters are sort of developed in films and stories, like, there is the archetypal characters, like, and there's usually about seven of them, where you got the hero, the mentor, like the shadow, the like the trickster, etc., etc. Like, and Batman does actually fall like within all those, like, because he is the hero, he's also the mentor to Robin. He's the shadow that he carries with him, like the death of his parents, like, you know, so he gets quite complicated. He's also the trickster, because he wears the mask, he sort of hides in the shadows and jumps out and surprises people. So he covers a lot more of a range of different characters. Whereas like when you look at Superman, his role is he has to sort of blend in with the human race. Yeah, and his way of becoming inconspicuous to everybody is to be a dorky sort of character. So I don't necessarily agree that it's his sort of indictment, like, is that he tries to mimic like what it is to be human, and to do that, like, is to be this sort of clumsy, sort of softly spoken sort of giant of a person. So that's another sort of indictment of like the character, like, when really he's this big, powerful individual. The role superheroes got in society today, it's almost like a moral role, so that it sets out to people how they could live their life and how they can make things better. Like, so it's an important role, and it's always the alter ego as well that people have to consider, that they are the normal everyday person initially, and something happens to them which makes them a superhero. But recently there has been a case like where there's been superheroes like without capes, and that's been sort of really interesting, like, where now superheroes are firemen, policemen, ambulance workers, hospital doctors, all those kind of people who is now being sort of drawn up and emulated to superhero sort of status. I think if I was to design my own superhero character, I'd have to think about it. Like, because obviously the course has got its own sort of superhero character, which is Captain Staff's, and we use that a lot to advertise. And people do ask what his superpower is, and it did take us a little bit by surprise. Like, is that I never actually thought about it. Like, but it would probably be about handing in work on time if he's a student, or just being a bit more sort of sociable, and helping people out. A hero is somebody, to me, is somebody who goes above and beyond what's expected. So they don't settle with that'll do sort of mentality. It is about sort of pushing it and to the extreme, and helping out, or even like just doing the work is that they just don't settle for second best. Is that they do sort of really push themselves.